French toast?
Again, okay. So when we used the regular butter, I decided, let's just try something different, Michelle. So we softened our butter, and I took that same orange because I would always make fresh orange juice, and I would take the fresh oranges, and I took that same, and we grated the orange rind, and I just add a little confection sugar, and we just kind of worked with it and made it kind of creamy. And that instead of syrup, we put our orange butter on our French toast.
Yum. All right, let's move to lunch. Now, you don't call it lunch. You call it Lunchables.
The Lunchables. The interesting thing about where we came from an area where the kiddie land over on Thatcher and First Avenue was something that was very, very popular years ago. And people came from all over to go to this kiddie land. And it was like an adventure land. They had a lot of different rides for kids. It was the greatest thing. It was there for over 50 years. And when we would go, we'd go and we would just get like one of their little hot dogs or something. So what I decided to do was create and prepare a recipe called the Kitty Land Stuffed Hot Diggity Dog. So, yeah, we just took these hot dogs, and I made some mashed potatoes, and we'd split the hot dog down the middle, and we put the mashed potatoes, and then we'd add like a little cheese. Sometimes we'd put bacon around it, and then we just put it in the oven or the broiler. And again, I wanted to make sure that, we had the meat, the potato. I was always trying to think of something that was healthy. So we just didn't need a normal hot dog on a bun. But we did our little Kittyland stuffed hot diggity dog, and it was an exciting thing for the kids to do.
You are so clever. All right, let's move to breads and muffins.
When we talk about muffins, again, the most popular muffin is my Auntie Lori's blueberry muffin. Michelle couldn't say blueberry at the time, so we said blueberry. And the muffin is a homemade blueberry muffin. Very, very simple to make. And it's everyone's favorite. Anybody that tries it. In fact, I had someone email me to say, we just tried the blueberry muffins. We love them. And I was very happy and excited to hear that. So it's a blueberry muffin with, again, homemade blueberries, that you buy at the store, some fresh blueberries, not canned. And then you just follow the simple recipe of ingredients, mix it together, and we would just put it in little cupcake tins, and we'd have our hot blueberry muffins.
Did you focus on fresh ingredients, Cindy?
Yes. I did focus on fresh ingredients.
A lot of cooks talk about the importance of fresh ingredients, and you triggered that in my mind when you said fresh blueberries, not canned. So in any of the recipes, if the opportunity is there to get the fresh ingredient, that's what they really should use, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some fresh ingredients. I mean, I don't buy frozen mashed potatoes, and it's always fun for the kids to mash potatoes. It's always a fun thing. So I always try to make sure that my daughter was involved.
Your kitchen sounds like it must have been such a happy, noisy place to be.
It was a fun house. I can tell you that my daughter's friends that she went to school with are still friends of hers today. So after all these years, she still kept in touch with everybody. But they always came to our house.
I can see why. I would too.
Yeah.
I can see why. All right, let's do din-din instead of dinner. I love that.
Yeah. So we did din-din because, we created. So I think one of the, besides the tuna casserole, which is probably a staple in everyone's life, we had fun with these miniature pizzas. Pizzas were fun because we used English muffins on our little pizzas. And her cousin Johnny was like one of his favorite. He just loved pizza. So we used our little English muffins, and we took some tomato sauce. And I say tomato sauce, but a lot of times when I would make my homemade spaghetti sauce, I would just save some spaghetti sauce for our little miniature pizzas. So life is good with miniature pizza, and they're very simple with English muffins and a little sauce and mozzarella cheese. And if there's anything else that you want to put on it, any type of vegetable, you can do that as well. We just did something simple. I didn't add, like sometimes we threw in like some broccoli or, anything that I could find in the refrigerator. We did do that. And it's a 10-minute little, din-din.
You could sneak in almost any kind of vegetable, couldn't you?
Yes, you can.
Desserts, is there a favorite dessert?
Yeah, now the favorite dessert is our chocolate crispy peanut butter balls. This is a very, very old recipe. It's one of the original recipes. Now today I see that there are variations of this recipe out there. I don't know how it got out there, but it's always a favorite no matter when we make it, no matter who samples it or wherever it goes. But it's a very simple recipe, and, it calls for just butter and peanut butter and powdered sugar and Rice Krispies. And you just take that and you just melt that all together, and you just work your little hands and you form it into a little ball. And then you're just going to dip it into some chocolate and let it cool. And I've got to tell you, it is just, I'd say that is, out of this whole cookbook, that is one of the big favorites.
Wow, that's saying something. Now, you've got a chapter. Chapter 6 is called Favorites. Does that have just a variety in it, or does it just have favorite dishes?
Does.
It does?
Yeah, it's a variety of things. These are really unique recipes. I mean, people would make, at home, they may make, Knox blocks at one time were kind of popular, where you'd take Jell-O. And, but I know that I created a chocolate Knox block, and it's just kind of a little square of gelatin from your box of Jell-O that is a real fun treat and very tasty. So on the favorites, those were just some favorites that as you might be wanting to catch a good Disney movie, and you can make some little yogurt pops ahead of time, or you can make some popcorn balls, and they're all very easy recipes, especially the marshmallow popcorn balls. It's one of Marcello's favorites. So we added just some easy peasy recipes that are favorites. My niece, which is Michelle's cousin Deanna, just loves making little fudgesicles. And you make little fudgesicles out of chocolate pudding.
Well, you've got my mouth watering and me believing I could actually cook. So this has just been, This is so much fun to talk to you about this. Are there any tips that you want to give parents for cooking with children?
The only tip, just from creating this cookbook and what I learned is, as a parent, don't do it all. Let the kids actually lead the recipe. Let them get let them put the ingredients into the bowl. Let them stir. Let them prepare the muffin tin, whatever it is. Just, try to kind of stand back and let the kids do it. It really gives them, they feel so good about themselves. It boosts their self-esteem. They feel confident. They want to be a chef. They can call themselves, Little Chef Michele. And it's just a great confidence booster.
I'm a former teacher, and sitting here listening to you and thinking about the cookbook in general, if I were a parent who was homeschooling my child, I think I would add a cooking segment to my homeschool, because you could get the kids involved directly with using math, and all of a sudden they would see how math really works in real life. Or science, talking about the ingredients that you're combining. What happens when you combine these ingredients? What's the outcome? You could really think about that in terms of what you're doing. You could even take some of the recipes that are from like a different area. Like you talked about Kittyland, and you could find out about the area and find out about Kittyland and sort of make it a geography lesson almost. You could just be really, really, really creative with what you're doing. I know that we have people who are saying to themselves, okay, quit talking, tell me where I can get this cookbook. So let's do that. Let's tell them where they can buy the cookbook. It's on your Facebook page, and let's give them that address.
Yes. Meals with Mish is the name of the cookbook, and there's a Facebook page created called Meals with Mish. There's also a button that you can order, and there's an email on there if anyone would like to email me. And I have autographed, Susan, every cookbook that I have sent out. Usually the cookbook is going to a child. Some parent is buying it for, a niece, a nephew, a son or daughter. And I would always like to know the name of the person the cookbook is going to so that we can actually autograph the cookbook before it goes out. So, again, any questions? I have an email out there called mealswithmish@gmail.com. And then there's a Facebook page called Meals with Mish. And there's actually a button that they can pay over the Facebook page, which is a secure payment kind of a button that Facebook's actually sets up. But if someone doesn't want to do that, they can always email me, and we can actually maybe come up with another form of payment for them.
Now, I want to say that Mish is spelled M-I-S-H, just in case they're not sure how to spell it. So it's Meals with Mish, M-I-S-H. It also occurs to me that if you've got a student that you're sending off to college who may be living in an apartment or who may be moving out for the first time as a young professional, this cookbook would be ideal for them because the recipes are simple and they're quick and they're easy, and it's not just for kids. The recipes are great. They taste good. And why wouldn't somebody want a cookbook that was easy?
Mm-hmm.
So I
agree, Susan, and that's a good point.
That made sense to me. I always, whenever I do interviews, I always like to give the author a chance to have the last word about their book. Now, this book it's so clever. The titles are wonderful. The idea of cooking with children is terrific. The recipes are fun and easy to do. When our listeners become cookbook buyers and they buy a copy of Meals with Mish and they use the recipes and they go through it and they look at all the cute caricatures of everybody and they close the cover, is there something else that you would like for them to take away, Cindy, or is it enough that you've given them a special time with their child and a way that they can bond and create memories with that child that's a totally unique experience?
Susan, this is truly a labor of love. The recipes have brought my family together. It brought family values, and the quality time that we all spent is something that made memories. And I hope that anyone that buys the book finds that it does the same thing for them.
I love it. I love the cookbook. I love your philosophy. I love what you've done with the recipes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy, for coming on Books on Air and being our guest and sharing this with us.
And I appreciate the time that you've taken, Susan, and to recognize the hard work that went into the book. But it is something genuine, and it's actually something that was created from the heart.
I love it that it's generational. I love it that these